Hello everyone, AngelWolf here with an update on the instances. I set up here, this is how the engine gets the first server address from layer. So it runs an event, get server address, constructs the JSON request, post JSON set request. We get a variable here that holds the request value, and it processes the URL hostname plus MMO get server processes that URL. So that calls this PHP file on layer. This is layer itself running right now. And all that does is spit back status equals OK, address equals 73.42.246.49. That's all it does. It doesn't do anything else. It has a setup for, darn it, it has a setup for where you can have an input, but there's really no input in this file. So the response happens right here. All right, we got on request complete, which is bound to an event dispatcher. On request complete, it gets the response object, it gets the address from the response object, and it sets the address to server address. So if we actually, I'm going to remove that. I'm going to put it here so we can actually see this. So if I hit play, we're going to see it all happen. All right, so here we are. It worked, and the server address coming back is correct. 73.42.246.49. No change, no difference. Simple. So let's stop. All right, now errors and warnings. That just has to do with the chat. I'm not running the chat server right now. So basically I wanted to do the same exact thing, just make a simple script that does the same thing, spits back stuff. So I did the same thing, request open instance. It gets the level name, which is coming in, does the post, JSON set request, gets the request object and passes the level name to it. And then it goes to process the URL, but instead of host name, it grabs server address from MMO instance, which is what we just got in this previous example, the server address. So it has my IP address here, and then it adds this / add instance PHP to tell it which PHP file it's looking for, process the URL, and bind another event when the request is complete. So this is the PHP file here. Layer is taking up my entire screen. Okay. So here is the actual PHP file. We got session start, include once, information collector. We got a function here that works with the information collector and the executable. No, it's the executable in the background. I got this from the actual PHP manual. So if you want to read about it, there's the link. And it works on Linux or Windows. It's set up to, if it's Windows, do this. If it's Linux, do that. So output from the blueprint, you just grab that output file, which has the level name in it. We grab the level name. We create the information collector and check and see if the CPU is running at more than 80%. If it's less than 80%, we get in here and we increment the session count. Session count is going to go up and down based on this file and another file which I haven't created yet. We call it close instance PHP, which is going to decrement this. And then we set the player port to the session number plus 8000. So it's always going to be port number 8001, 8002, 8003, and so on. And then we launch the executable. And we got the launch, the executable, the level name, the log, which allows us to see that it's actually running, and the port, which is the player port. Now here's where it's not working. Echo JSON encode array status equals OK, player port equals player port. Okay, so that looks exactly the same as the file on layer. The syntax is completely correct. We got echo JSON encode array status. There's no extra Nothing funky looking. We got the semicolon at the end. Everything looks like it's supposed to be working. All right, move that back. Now, here is the problem. The request complete. It gets the response object just like the other file, but here the status is blank and the player port is still 0 no matter what I do, and I'll show you that happening right now. I'll hit play, and I added a hotkey to automatically fire off this event sequence, and that hotkey is O for open. Oh, we don't need this. Let's just turn that breakpoint off. Wait till he starts running. There he goes. Okay. So that means everything's up and running. I hit O and watch what happens. And there it is. The executable is launching. It's launching Office Interior. You can see that it's opening on port 8002 and it's working correctly. But new var is set to 0. It's not getting back the OK. It's not getting back OK. Player port is not getting back a number. It's getting 0. And when this compares and sees that it's 0, 0, it comes back false. And it never continues on to setting up the client to open the level, which is what happens at the end here. So it never gets to that point because this is never true, because for some weird reason it's not getting back the object correctly. So that is where I'm stuck. But here's the weird thing. If I go into Visual Studio, let me turn that on right here. Go into Visual Studio. Now I have the add instance loaded up here in a PHP project using VSPHP for testing, and I have bypassed the level name assigning so that we're not in the engine. I'm going to run this manually here to show you that it works. So VSPHP is set up here. You can see the file is the same. I hit start. Watch what happens. It's going to do this, and the executable launched again, this time on 8003. I got to shut that down and shut this down. I got too many servers running. That's why. Okay, now that don't look right. Let's do it one more time here. Stop here. Start it again. And there it goes. It launched. Now, here we have status equals OK. Player port 8001. 8001. So this is what looks like is being sent back. But for some reason, the engine is not seeing it. This response object is coming back completely blank, and I don't know why. And I can't continue on until I get the actual port back. So as you can see, it's identical to the other one. I don't know what I'm doing differently. I don't know what's different in this situation, but I don't know. I don't know enough about PHP to really be able to diagnose this, except to say that I've gotten to the point where it launches. I just can't get the damn return address. So that's where I'm at, and I will talk to you guys on the flip.